All right, welcome back to Soul Spark Tarot, and I'm your host, Mr. Anu. And today we want to do a little bit different. We want to yap about our reading earlier today. Our overall energy was the Devil card, but I tried to bring a pretty good understanding of that with the Judgment and the Lovers card. So we're going to talk about that, and I want to use my life as an example. So, all right. Previously on Soul Spark Tarot, we had the Judgment, and I was talking about how the Judgment card, the Devil card, and the Lovers card, all of them have a celestial body, and then each of them have a pair. A masculine energy, a feminine energy, a masculine energy, a feminine energy, masculine energy, a feminine energy. And so what I was saying is that all of these three things are the same thing. And it what I was trying to establish is the concepts of both. This is all the ego, right? And I was explaining how the Death card and the Ten of um, Swords, they mean different things relative to what we're referring to. And in this case, the devil here is representing the ego. The same thing with the lovers. It's representing the ego. And there's a couple of different ways to view this because you got the judgment, which represents not just the two pairs of energy, a blended new version of it, and then surrounded by others in the same boat or same category, same area with a celestial body. So each of these areas, they operate the same exact way towards the ego, whether you're casting judgment, whether you are loving things, whether you are hating things. The ego is there as the same throughout them all. And so, with our overall energy being the devil card, we had to understand that this part of us is what's going to show. And that showing will reveal to you if you accept the other part of it, the clarifiers, which was the judgment card. And then when I put out the lovers card to match that too, so we can transition to the other side. When we get to the judgment, you got to realize that there's judgment being cast within that realm still first. You haven't exited that world of the devil. So this is like neutralizing. You're neutralizing your own ego by identifying the choice made based upon the decision made upon that choice. And since it's in the dark devil, the ego side, this part of us is, I want to say arrogant because that's how I feel like I kind of came off today. But I was confident in everything that I did. And so that's where we get to this tug of war. Wondering, okay? So over here, I went and did what I needed to do. And whichever side that was, whether that's the feminine side of me or the masculine side of me, whatever, which one of those energies inside of that card, whichever one it is, boom, the judgment has been made. So I cast my judgment based upon whatever reason. It's this side or that side. That's how it works. But to understand that there's another judgment call in that same context is the first step. And then the second step is to understand the judgment that was decided between those two individually. And then you can jump into the judgment of all of these things, which would then take you to the positive side, so to say. And now you get to the lover's card, and the same thing operates. There's a judgment being made based upon loving in this feminine energy way, or loving in this masculine energy way. But at the end of the day, it's a newfound ego, which could then be recycled back into judgment. So this cycle or these loops is happening double. It's happening in the devil side, it's happening in the lover side. But what I was explaining was you can have the good inside of the bad, You can have the bad inside of the good. That's what people say, right? Yeah. I said, okay, well, another way to say it is you can have a good devil or you can have a bad angel, right? So these couple of different ways to see it is what the energies was portraying. And so for me, that came up, and again, what got me even on the mic, the judgment is to express the judgment. I think that is how I kind of come to terms with it a little bit better, because there's I've said that we must be able to identify not just the ego changed, and then the ego transformed, which is just observation of how you handle certain things, and then being able to reflect and notice a trend or a pattern in between. And again, this is how the judgment call is being made upon a situation. So, the first judgment call upon my situation today, my first initial judgment call wasn't my fault. That's the first thing. So, looking at it from a dark point of view, the devil card, it's like, okay, that's complete unaccountability for anything possible. But I know and then what is my confirmation? Go to the lover's side. Oh, well, I know it was right because I've been doing it for the longest. Again, that just sounds like arrogance because clearly there's some results. And that is the judgment call. For me, what I've learned and why I'm on the microphone talking about it now is because I learned how to rebuttal both sides, because again, I'm trying to sit in the middle making the best judgment call. So just looking at the fact that one of them was unaccountable for anything and the other side is like, well, I've been doing it so I know it worked. It just coming off super dismissive. So it's like, okay, boom. Kept on, thinking about it. And then it's like, okay, boom. Started to realize that like what was being miscommunicated. Okay. And then I started to recall, I'm like, okay, I'm being more open, I'm being receptive, I'm realizing, kind of making a judgment call. All right, so I can possibly be wrong, or I could possibly be thinking about the wrong things, or looking at the wrong spot, or something like that. There's something that I could be. So I'm still in a double world, but I haven't acknowledged anything. I'm just starting to become open to the fact that even on the same selfish side, instead of just taking, the independent route, no accountability, I'm going to the other side and say, well, it kind of depends. What and then I was like, yeah, well, I know for sure that I probably messed up on one. And as I recall, I'm like, okay, there's one. So I was like, yeah, you can give me that one, but the rest is all on you. And I was like, okay, that's cool. That's cool. You can say that, but like, that still feels like you're being a little dismissive. And this is me coaching myself. I'm trying to teach people how to coach themselves up, and it comes with, being aware of these feelings. And they be strong, but that's why you just gotta allow it to pass through. And sometimes it'll take a little bit more time than like what you want to give it, but you gotta have ways to get it out of you. And that'll help that time go by faster because, time flies when you're having fun. And this is a way we can change that time. Micro changes, placing it into a macro form, which, it's not going to take me long to write up my reports upon this, but I didn't really know what to say about it because, again, I'm showing you now how I'm taking accountability for that devilish side of me of, you know, knowing what I know, doing what I do, knowing what I know works, but then not realizing that, like, there's other contributing factors, upon the situation. And like the weird thing about it is like I was on the positive side the whole time. Like everything was going great. So it's like when I was first brought to it, the only reason why I came off on the devilish side is because I was like, what? Can't be. Not me. Right? But then when you look at it from not the devil card to the judgment to the lovers, if you start off with the lovers to the judgment to the devil, you'll see from my point of view, on the other point of view, I love doing this kind of stuff. So, and then I love the interaction. I love the conversation. Everything was in the context. He was, the person was talking, the student was talking, it was walking through everything, showing the patterns. We were on it. Everything was like well flowing machine, just like my previous times doing it in the classrooms, especially doing tutoring. Like it, I've never not done what I've done and it not work. So on the lover side, it's like the reason why I know it works is because I love doing this. But I love having the flow of working with somebody who wants to learn or who knows or who's changing and growing, who's engaged. So it's just like I can see those things, and that's the love side. But not everybody can see that, because they're not looking for that. They're looking for what they're looking for. They're casting their own judgment on the devil side. So again, but it's not devilish, devil or lover side. They're just, they're casting their own judgment. And for me, for all of us, we can only see through people's judgments. And at the end of the day, to really get to that next level of love, the judgment call from the celestial body, because remember, these are all majors. So you got to understand this. You got to get in alignment. It's bigger than you. So you got to get your shit right, which is what I'm saying. Like, to be really, really accountable, because again, I'll talk about what the more practical results were afterwards. I had to get into alignment of, remorse now. And you got to feel that kind of guilt and a little bit of a shame, just for the simple fact that you got to be able to, like, have some kind of empathy. And the empathy is the feeling internally versus the compassion. That's how you put the feelings together. It's how you intellectualize. So to have compassion is to have a reason why you're doing what you're doing for this type of person. Because they got it hard. Because of this. Because of that. There's reason. But the empathy is just the feeling that you have within you when you hear like a story, or you hear that passion, or you hear that motivation, or you hear that inspiration. That is that feeling. And that is what most people are operating upon, especially when they're engaging in causing judgment. So, no matter what it is, try to have that empathy and feel, even if it's not that what you're projecting. You gotta learn how to cast that judgment, because you know that there's differences in people. So instead of just allowing yourself to feel one way, try to feel into other ways. So take whatever you're feeling and put new thoughts of different perspectives. And so that, again, that is what that guilt or that shame aspect comes into a positive note. That's how we shift it. I use it to say, well, if I'm feeling bad because I know I'm hit wrong here, probably could have been wrong somewhere else. And then instead of running through all the different ways I could have been wrong, I can just show guilt and remorse for just summing it all up, which is I dropped the ball on this one. So, but before that, before I came to that conclusion of my system works and it's not me, I was like, man, fuck this. I'm going to just quit. And then after like going over reasons as to why I should just say fuck it, you know, eventually came to that conclusion of, well, maybe they could have been. And then I came to that next conclusion of, all right, well, here are the results. What happened? Well, here's one possible. Oh, here's a guarantee. Pretty sure. But guess what? I don't know about these other ones. So instead of taking a little bit of blame, I'm saying I'm going to move forward and say, I'm to blame, period. Should have been 100%, because that's my job. I'm the leader, I'm the teacher, right? So again, I'm shifting from that devil energy over to more, I'm making judgment calls, new judgment calls. And it's been hard. Clearly, it wasn't, does it sound hard? Or does it sound easy? Because I'm telling you, that shit was hard to like go through these feelings across this spectrum. And so as I'm going through these feelings, and I'm starting to like, I'm questioning the feelings, and I'm treating this time frame of me interacting with this feeling as his own thing, and like, I'm starting to realize, my thoughts are changing about it, which is changing my feelings. And so if I get to a new feeling, kind of like, feeling regret and remorseful, and now instead of wanting to quit because I'm mad, I'm feeling like I should resign because I fucked up, like it's still getting away from the problem, but like there are other reasons to, continue that pattern of shifting towards that direction, but that's at a different time because again, we're at this point still in the devil energy of just even starting to understand, the remorse side, which is having the empathy to say, well, shit. Now, instead of just accounting for the mistakes and potential, and I'm just saying, yeah, I'm being completely accountable. Now you got to jump to the lover side and not be too accountable or overly accountable. So you got to like start to sort through the parts that are bad. And so you got to go and sit through the ridicule. And that's where I was. I was like ridiculing myself for all, the potential things that could have been wrong into all the things I should have did and made sure and ensure that I did in the first place. So it's like that started to lead into embarrassment. Again, this is the same spectrum until I even hopped on the mic telling the story. Like I'm telling you, like this is what I went through. So now I'm through the judgment card over to the lover's card. One of those energies, and I'm receiving, so it must be the feminine energy. So I'm looking at the situation and saying, okay, I could have done A, B, C to just ensure that my system was in place and it was working. Because I mean everything was there, but there are two other things I could have done just to like make it better. So I'm trying to be accountable. I'm saying it took me some time, but I got here. So then there's two other things I could have done though, just in general with any person that I work with, and that's just to ensure that I'm ensuring. So check me, checking myself, giving myself reminders to go do this. Like I do that all the time, but I did it in this one spot, and I could have did it in two spots. I could have made sure remodeled every single one, regardless. Just because that's the whole premise, instead of just doing it when it comes up and you can't work through the problem. I should have did it every single time, step by step, all the steps, and just did it through the entire time. Just super strict drill sergeant. But I didn't feel like I needed to do that because everything was working well. So because of that, again, coming from that lover's energy into the devil, because everything was on my end was working well, I've already caught that judgment of I love what I've got going on. But because of all the same reasons we saw on the devil side, there has to be a more extreme to that. Maybe I loved hearing my voice. Maybe I loved saying what I was saying and somebody, acting like they got it. Having the words to say it. Having communication. Like there could have been other factors. So sounds like I'm dampening the love. No, I'm appreciating the fact that I have so many different experiences to reflect upon. Guess what? All of these are just experiences worked through, just memories. So I'm like holding on to old memories to justify, the feeling that I had about how I thought it went instead of just being objective and say, yeah, you feel good, but bro, look at the results. That's what the fuck matters. So again, it feels like that person, that love is being strained, is being drained now. And that's because it's moving towards the devilish side, opposed to how on the devil's side it seemed to get better and better as you move towards the judgment. But as you go from the lovers, it moves towards the devil's side as it moves towards the center card, the judgment. So going from this west to center, this east to center, going through this motion, this cross motion, you know, opposite lanes on a street, we we gotta see how it operates the same, but it's valued differently, or it can be valued the same and structured differently. What we're really looking at is what are the standard points that we can interact with on both sides. Both sides. It's not all stuffy. So. here's the more practical side. Again, had a session today, and there's a new person. And then, to sum it up, I dropped the ball. But what is so like funny about it is I didn't think I dropped the ball. That's the thing. That's what is so crazy about this because again, when I was in the game, when I was in the moment, it was great. Oh yeah, that was didn't even know it, but it was easy. It was easy. We got this in the bag. Didn't even consider that. It was just easy. We was in there delusional, but I wasn't though. But I was. Both sides. Again, that's the devil or the lovers, and both sides are shifting. I'm on this team or I'm on that team. But on that side, I'm on this side or that side of this side. Am I the west west side or the west east side in the world called West? In the world called East, am I the east east side or the east west side? You tell me. Again, these opposites, they have start points that are a little bit different because they get attracted to the centerpiece in a different way. But they're still getting to the center, and that's that judgment. That's that equilibrium. That is that recalibrating, the grounding aspects, to the ups and downs. So again, I was in there thinking I was doing great. Everything was going well, and then got the results. Didn't go well. And then was asked about it, and I was like, well, I'm not sure this is what I was told here. This is what I was told there. And then Eva was like, oh, I don't know. It was an easy concept. There was nothing difficult about it. Like, I've done this in many different grades. Like, I don't know. And so then I left. Then that's where, you know, the devil energy started to come out. It was like, what the fuck? As I'm driving, what the fuck? Like, what? What? Hell no. Hell no. And then eventually got to the point about, you know, 4 hours later, it was like, ah, I take 100% fault for this. Do you want me to quit? Like that's where I'm at. So I still gotta like write my report and figure that shit out on the way I can best say it. But just getting it out and just knowing that I'm going in there not defensive. I'm going in there not with like you know without the blame. I'm taking accountability for the results, and this is a results given the world. So if I had to like just go, I would. If they was like, nah, stay, I don't know how I would have to change, how I felt about it, because I still want to like leave anyway. So if I stay, do I get myself stuck, feeling obligated, or what? I don't know. But it gives me something to call new judgment upon in a balanced way. Now it's a new question. It's a new question. It's same materials, but I'm gonna cook a different meal. Same ingredients, right? So again, I'm just gonna say what we said, which is I'm gonna explain my practice, my processes, my structure like I always do. I'm gonna say what we did, and I would just, account for everything accounted for. Instead of which means to find the good in the situation is, or the lover's side, yeah, as much as I love to do it, as much as I, could feel empathy and be angry, feel like I wasted my money or whatever, you know, all of the negativity that comes with, having a good system and having a good session, on the surface, everything was all good until we got the results. Like, I could also think of the good reasons why it's not all my fault too. I could empathize with myself now. So the other part, which came from that potential empathizing side on the devil side, what if it wasn't me? Kids make mistakes all the time, right? People do, adults. So people just make mistakes. And so there's plenty of times where I didn't hear right, or, he didn't speak up, or I didn't speak up right. But we were talking, it was great. We were just clarifying it was good because we were working through everything on the board, like doing everything. But like I said, I could have not taken account because I noticed that I had to correct a certain area, like one specific part, like multiple times. And I was like kind of pop quizzing them on that same part, like throughout the whole session. So I could have like ensured that that part was being inputted correctly. So there could have been an input error, and that was like one of the main things. And then, yeah, I gotta like blow my nose, excuse me. Excuse me. Feel like I didn't get much out, but sound a little bit better. So, looking at that, the good thing is I know that there could also be other things. Again, I could have made sure everything was inputted correctly. I could have made sure that I demonstrated all the principles that I was providing for every single thing that we did. I could have made sure that I modeled every single one of the problems as well. So models, I could have provided my structure, my tips, my tricks. I should have documented it all every single time. And then I should have went over and made sure that it was inputted properly. And then there's another thing. I could have made sure that the problems were being read off correctly. So I could have just wrote them by looking my damn self. So again, these are all the things that I'm looking at that I could have said in a negative way, by being defensive. But now I'm seeing myself not defensively. I'm empathetic. And so because I'm empathetic for just the situation of, well, maybe there's another reason why it's not my fault. And then on the other side, maybe there is another reason why I'm responsible for this. So now I'm seeing the empathy work in two different ways. But because I'm loving what I do in my way, my structure, and how the session is going, I'm going to be responsible for it. But because it's my way and I know it works and I got all this experience, and then this person I'm working with knows what they're talking about, or they're good with what they're saying, and what we're practicing, and everything is all right. So it can't be me, right? The empathy and the alternatives, it pops up as judgments. It's what we're deciding. Because again, I've shifted through all of those. And so now I'm in a new space looking at what to do. And I'm just going to say that's what I've done. And now those are the ways I cannot criticize myself for not being responsible or accountable to being responsible. And what does that mean? Now I got areas I can just always check for the next people I work with, period. No matter where that's at. It's just a lesson learned. So it was hard to, go through this and take the time. I've done a lot of different things to get there. I wrote pull cards for myself, took a walk and shit. And now I'm on the mic talking about it. So I appreciate y'all listening to me yap. Again, I kind of needed that. Um, yeah, check out the video. I'm gonna do this shit, these reports. Then I'm gonna go and probably go work out, and then try to live my life and follow my passions, because that's really what that story kind of boils down to. That's the new judgment that I was already calling even whether I'm staying there or not, I'm asked to resign or if I quit, like I'm still going to be trying to follow my passions regardless, even if neither one of those things happen and I'm staying there. So I know that sounds kind of hard, but that's the harsh energy that I went through and I'm processing because I know I can start to give myself a more gentle judgment about the situation because I know more. I know more about four different parts of me. So, like, as good as it went, again, I know the results matter and I didn't get the results wanted or desired. So I gotta, if I failed, I failed. If I gotta retake the class, I gotta retake the class. So I just gotta understand the consequences for not reaching that bar. And then I just got to go harder. And it's like, damn, everything was going good and I lost still. What the fuck should I do? How do I change? What do I change? It's like feeling like you're humbling yourself. And it's not. You're redirecting your ego. And when you redirect your ego, that is, again, the best boxer who knows they're the best. Then they get beat and then they got to like take some different mindset change, and then they go off and show the world that they're the best. Like what? They're the best is still consistent. So my method was still to be the best. But to improve my method, I can do what I've already discussed and what I'm taking accountability for, what I'm trying to be responsible for. I'm trying to hold myself accountable through these three ways, which is to ensure the models, ensure that I watch the input, read the fucking problems off for myself. I can do those three things to help support what I'm practicing. Oh, the fourth thing, I can give my tips, on top of the standard. And those things I can be held accountable for in the future. If I'm not doing those things, then, come at me. But if I'm doing those four things plus everything else, don't come at me. I'm holding myself accountable. That's my judgment. But guess what? I'm also looking at being okay with other people making mistakes. And guess what? In this case, the result is what showed who made the mistake or not. And I'm taking accountability in four ways. So guess what? It's on me. But they might say it's on us. We should have never tried this place. We should have never did this. We should have never done that. You know? So it's the same thing, but now since I'm saying it backwards, you gotta see it's both operating the same way, but two different people, two different parties, two different sides to the coin. So that is the devil card. That is the lover's card. And the coin is the judgment card, right in between. So don't judge yourselves too harshly. Don't judge what comes out initially. Process different points in change and cast judgment upon them. These are the composites. These are the Lego pieces. These are the multiple years that create your current age. These are your experiences across time, whether there's long or short. These are the things that are impacting you slowly or influencing you on a miracle rate. These are things that happen, and they're happening at its own time. So, you must invest your time in understanding time so you can call the right judgment in the time that you need it. So, I hope you be great. I hope you appreciate your devil energy. Hope you appreciate your devil energy, which is the ego. I hope you appreciate your lover energy. I hope you appreciate your angel energy, which is the ego. And I hope you appreciate your judgment energy. And that is all egos. So soar like the eagle, deny the eagle, and be great.